I know we all love playing with the biggest teams in the biggest leagues, but in my opinion, some of the most fun leagues on FIFA are actually some of the smaller ones you can play in. Today, I'm going to be telling you my 5 favorite minor leagues. So these are the leagues that maybe don't have teams full of 90 rated players, they don't have the best youth players. What they do have is a bunch of fun teams, usually a unique scenario or an interesting history. So let's get started with the first one, and that is going to be Serie B. Now, Serie B was only just added back to FIFA. It's been gone for 4 or 5 years, but now it's back. Italy has 2 divisions on FIFA. Of course, Italy also has a national team, which makes it one of the rare occasions you can actually do an RTG and end up as the national team manager. You can even follow real rules in Serie B, they're super easy, it's just around having 25 players at all times. It also makes the career a lot more balanced and a bit more fun if you do follow these rules, but you don't have to. And with 20 teams, you'll probably have a location, kit, stadium, and team combination that you enjoy for your entire FIFA Career Mode save. However, Serie B isn't all pros, there are actually some cons to playing in Italy. Not too many of the players actually have real faces, especially compared to the likes of the Championship or the second Bundesliga. This is probably just because the league's been re-added, so you can expect more and more of these to be added as FIFA progresses throughout the year. Serie A does have quite a lot, even on some of the unlicensed teams, so eventually some of these will also filter down into the second division. Most teams in the league are also very similar for budget, squad and stadiums, so it can seem a little bit samey if you want to do more than one career mode in this league. So it's more of a one shot and then you're done kind of save. And if you do manage to get promoted, of course, not every team in Serie A is licensed, as we mentioned before. So if you're against that kind of thing, maybe Serie B isn't the one for you. However, in that case, maybe the Turkish Super League is. This league is basically the exact opposite of the Serie B. It's got a load of really well-known famous players in there. You've seen Dries Mertens on the thumbnail, but there's also like Ekstraklasa in there, Özil, Hamzik, Pjanic have all played in the league recently. So a lot of really well-known players come to this league. And if you do want to play realistically, as a lot of the people who subscribe to this channel do, then it's super easy to do as well. You simply can only have 10 foreign players in the squad and 6 foreign players on the pitch at one time. This makes it super easy to follow the rules. 10 foreign players is basically an entire squad, and you can just have 4 on the bench and rotate them in and out. There's also quite a lot of good Turkish talent coming through around Europe if you do need them. Demreal, Kabak, Orkan Koku, they're all very good players, and of course there's a lot of players out there with Turkish heritage that you can try and bring to Turkey. There's a few failed wonder kids as well. If you're into that kind of thing, you've got players like Emre Mor, Gökhan Torre, and Kerim Fry, who all had over 85 potential on old FIFAs, and are now in the low 70s for overall rating. The Super League, however, does again have some cons. A lot of the teams are in pretty bad financial situations, so there isn't a huge amount of budgets if you're into doing a total rebuild for your entire squad. Most of the teams you could probably rebuild about half, maybe 4 or 5 players for your first 11 every single year, but that's about as good as you're going to get in the Turkish league. A lot of the teams are also very old, so you will be doing rebuilds very regularly for the first couple of seasons, and a lot of the time the board expectations are maybe a bit ambitious for the level that you're playing at. So maybe the Turkish Super League is a very difficult and rebuild focused league, but it can also be a very fun one. The third league we're talking about is the Argentinian Primera division. So this has some really good pros. It's now fully licensed. Every single team, including like Boca Juniors and River Plate, are now licensed and on the game. And also the Argentinian Premier Division is also the only way of actually qualifying for the Libertadores and the Sudamericana on FIFA 22 Career Mode with a real team. It's also got the second most teams of any league with 26. Only the MLS with 27 has more teams. This huge amount of teams means that it would be quite unrealistic if you did play every single team home and away. So instead what you do in the Argentinian Premier Division is play every single team once, either at home or away. So this gives you in the end a 27 game season, which is actually fairly short, so you can get through the seasons quite fast when playing in Argentina. You've also got some massive rivalries, so the Argentinian Primera Division is full of pros if you want to do it. However, there are some negatives to playing in Argentina. Number 1, there's barely any real faces in the league. Number 2, it doesn't have its own scoreboards and things like that anymore. The difference between the best and the worst teams is pretty big, so it could result in some big scores. Even if you're playing as one of the better teams, you'll be winning too easy, or if you're playing as one of the worst teams, you might lose massively in a couple of games every single season. But despite this, it is actually pretty easy to become the best team within 1 or 2 seasons. Because player values are so low, you can easily just sign the 8 best players in the league with any team basically, and end up with a team that can rival the likes of Boca Juniors for the best team of all time. Argentina can be super fun, but there's one league that I always seem to head to every single career mode save, and that is the Polish Ekstraklasa. While this league is a little bit of a meme for some of the goal misses that seem to go on every single season in Poland, but the Ekstraklasa is actually one of the best leagues in the entire game for bringing big name players back home. You've got players like Kamil Glik, Rybus, Krychowiak, all possible in the first season. Eventually, maybe even Lewandowski would be willing to head back to Poland. Lots of old real-face Polish players like to retire as managers, and you can easily do this in FIFA as well by just making a player career mode and instantly retiring with any player that you'd like to do. I really like some of the stadiums in this league in real life. However, on FIFA there are only 2 or 3 different designs that have been assigned to the teams, so you might have to go through before your save and adjust some of this. Poland also has a really good name pool for regens. While I'm doing some research for one of my other videos that will come out soon, I found that the Polish name pool is actually one of the biggest in the entire game. There's so many different random names in here with so many letters that it's unlikely you'll get the same player with the same kind of stats and the same name. There's lots of history in Poland between all the teams, so if you're having a role-playing save, why not spice it up by initiating some rivalries with some of these teams? And also, the weather in Poland is set to snow for more percentage of the time than any other nation on the game. Of course, just like every other league on this video, every single league has some cons, including Poland. So if you don't like snow, of course that could be an easy con, but they've also got some bizarre kit color combinations. There's a lot of reds and yellows, which I don't really like that much. There's quite far away from being a European level team as well. You've got some teams that are maybe in the high 60s, but to really compete in the group stages, you need to be about 75 to 80. So you've got quite a far way to go, but that can actually be a bonus if you're like building up a league. That's going to be hard to do though, because barely any of the teams have any kind of transfer budget, which you would kind of expect for a minor league in Europe, but still it can make it very hard to get things running at the start. And also, a lot of youth academy players will come through higher rated than your first team. Some of the teams in the league have like 58 rated players, and you'll easily get some players who are like 62, 63, 64 rated in the first season. So you will probably have a full youth academy side, which I don't really like doing because I don't think it's that realistic to have a team of 17-year-olds. And finally, the league that I recommend the most, that's quite a small league and quite underrated in my opinion, is the Belgian Pro League. They've got a huge amount of potential. In fact, they've got almost the same potential as the Eredivisie, which is a much more popular and well-known league around the world. With 18 teams in the Belgian Pro League, you've got a bit more choice than teams like the Eredivisie, but you're still going to have to choose the right one for you. The Belgian national team is of course in the game and is licensed, so this could be the perfect league for a club and country save. They've also, and this is the big reason they're number 1, got the most unique structure I think of any league on FIFA. So the league starts in early August and it runs all the way through to late April. The teams play each other twice, so that's 34 games in total, and then you enter either the playoffs 1 or the playoffs 2 according to their position in the regular season. The playoffs 1 is also known as the Champions Playoffs, are contested by the top 4 clubs in the regular season. Each club plays each other twice, and the team that wins this league is the champion. The playoffs 2 is a little bit different. This is contested by the teams ranked 7th to 14th in the league, and also the first 2 teams from the second division. This isn't of course in FIFA, so in fact they just do every other team goes into the Europa League playoff. So this means you can be bottom of the league and still manage to qualify for Europe in a technical way, which is a pretty cool way of ending every single season. The cons of the Belgian league are though that your players' prices are actually really low compared to their overall ratings. I think this has something to do with reputation, which does increase as you continue through a career mode, so it's going to get better every single season, but it also means you'll never get bids of what your players are actually worth to you. And also the potential in the league isn't actually evenly balanced. Some of the big teams will drop away really quickly, so you start off with 8 or 9 teams that are very similar rating. The top 3 will just continue improving, and the bottom 6 will just drop away, so it does become just a 4-horse race if you can get your club into that top little club. But thank you all for watching this video. Let me know your favourite league to do FIFA Career Mode saves in the comments below. If you enjoy my content, consider becoming a channel member or subscribing, and like the video if you enjoyed it. But thank you all for watching. I'll see you soon. Cheers and goodbye.